So good morning, everyone. So my name is Lex Dop. I'm a DOA Team Leader in the team of Gregory. And within the team, I'm trying to coordinate a bit the activities regarding SMS. And in that context, I've been asked to give this presentation. So I'm not going to explain what is SMS, but it's more about the state of play. So how far are we in terms of progressing? Yes. So I just put together this slide to remind everyone about the timeline that we are working on. It started with the decision in 2021 to introduce SMS into the Part 21 for design organizations and production organizations. The rule became applicable so in 2022. With the arrow for the applicability, it ends in 2023. It doesn't mean it is not applicable anymore. On the contrary, it is the moment actually that all organizations were expected to comply to the SMS requirements. The EU decision that introduced SMS into the Part 21, it defined that there would be a 2-year rectification period for closing any findings related to SMS implementation. And says, I try to mark with the red dotted line, we are approaching the end of the arrow that marks this period. So over this period, I think from our side, we've organized a couple of events in which we tried to provide background information on SMS and what our expectations are for the organizations that need to comply. And with some delay, also the AMC and guidance material was published. I also marked the MSAT update, so that's the management system assessment tool that I think is commonly known, and I think a good tool to assess the maturity of any organization that needs to have an SMS. Unfortunately, I would say we are not in the position that all organizations are compliant as of today. And that led to a pre-warning letter being sent in September of this year. So that was 6 months before the end of the deadline. I would say it's not intended as a threat or anything, but it was more so it's really intended to inform you, remind you, and make sure that we all put in the effort to achieve compliance by the specified deadline of March next year. And so we have also in the future, I've marked also the pre-consultation letter that was already mentioned, or that is mentioned in the pre-warning letter, and that would be sent if by February the organization is still not compliant. The status today, so I did a bit of analysis on our database for the design organizations. So there are 325 DOAs under oversight, so the approved DOAs. And of those, around 50 have reached sufficient maturity that is the level that is expected at this time. Sorry. So that's reflected in the chart so on the top right. As you can see, there's still quite a big gap between the blue line of where we are today and the orange line is where I think we should be. The bottom left gives a picture from on the POAs. This is only for the production organizations that are under the direct oversight of EASA. Unfortunately, I don't have the data from all the national authorities, so I don't know if that the picture would be the same. I think at least from the organizations, so design and production on the EASA oversight, the picture is a bit similar, where there's still a lot of organizations that need to achieve the appropriate maturity. On the bottom left, I've put a chart reflecting the distribution of the mature organizations depending on this G category that we use. So the G0 is the organizations with the smallest scope, basically miners only, and with limited activity. And as you go higher in this rating, the organizations become larger themselves and have also a wider scope for the design organization. The purpose of the idea here is to show that there are organizations with all sizes and all scopes that have reached the required maturity. So I think it's really possible for all organizations to achieve that. Proportionality, I think, is used in various contexts. So, as a reminder, the SMS implementation by the organizations itself, it should be proportionate. The expectations, whether you are a large TC holder or a small DOA doing only minor changes, is different. And so you can take this into account when you're setting up the system. At the same time, also on our side, we have a proportionate approach through so the clusters that we have defined. So we have grouped the DOAs a bit according to this G rating. So the smaller organizations with limited scope in the cluster 1, and so the large TC holders, for example, in the cluster 4. And then so taking a bit, with a risk-based approach, we go more in depth depending on the risk that is pertinent to the organization. Then, so until at least until March of next year, there's still definitely some work to be done. So we take the opportunity to request that you really maximize your effort to reach compliance and avoid any potential negative decisions. Make sure to communicate with your organization approval team leader if there's information to share about progress or upcoming deliverables. Please let them know in advance. Be mindful of workload. I think, as you would have seen in the picture, there's a lot of organizations that still need to achieve the right maturity. If everyone submits the documents at the latest moment, it will be impossible to manage that. So make sure to deliver that information at the earliest possibility. And lastly, as a reminder, SMS implementation does not end with additional acceptance. The maturity level that we are expecting today is not the same that we will expect in the coming years. And I think it's important that we realize that this will be an ongoing effort, and much more is to happen. Thank you.
Stay here for a moment.
Yes.
So that's me again. Hello. Now for the format of this event regarding presentations, thank you, Lex, for your very good presentation. There might be some questions. So there are certain possibilities. The preferred possibility would be for you to join the Slido platform that we have put in place for this event. Don't worry, this is on screen here, but inside in Cologne, you have also the code and the QR code, which are displayed on the walls multiple times. If you look to your left or to your right, you will find one, plus in the Boeing room as well. And this is something that's on screen right now. So for the remote participants, you are also welcome to join the Slido platform to send your questions for this presentation and for the subsequent ones. Just one thing, there is another option to submit questions just for the participants in the Airbus room. So the first room where we actually physically are here, myself and my colleagues, you have microphones on your desk. So this is a possibility as well, but this is not in the interest of the event because we are trying to keep the time. And if we have questions through the microphones, at some point we have to stop rather than just pick those from Slido. So those from Slido will get priority anyway. And for all of you who are witnessing us in Cologne, but in the second room, in the Boeing room, because I need to remember to remind everyone that we have more people than the Airbus room can fit. We have a second room called the Boeing room, which is very close by. And there are microphones on the table. Unfortunately, those are not working for sending the sound up to us in the Airbus room. So if you activate them, you will probably hear yourself, but we will not hear you. So please, in the Boeing room, don't use a microphone to communicate with us. We will not hear what you say. Okay, do we have questions on Slido already? Okay, no questions on Slido. Questions in the room? Can you activate your microphone? There is a button in the middle. Yes.
Good morning, Gilles Fontaine, Airbus. Could you elaborate a bit more about the letter that was mentioned in the chart, the letter that is foreseen to be issued to some DOA holders early next year?
Gregory, maybe.
I can answer that question, Gilles. Thank you for that question. So what we have to follow is, because the rule is very clear on what needs to happen on the 7th of March 2025 for those organizations not showing sufficient maturity on SMS, we need to enter into a legal process that was kicked off with the initial letter. So this is all set in for us as administrators on how to run such a process. So it started with that initial letter. As mentioned by Lex, this was not meant as a threat, but it did contain very strong wording. This was on purpose to show everybody, no, this is serious and there will be serious consequences. And then there will be a second letter for those organizations still not sufficiently mature in February to really announce, okay, this is, let's say, the last warning, so that we will be taking negative decision if you still not reach the maturity level on the 7th of March 2025. Was really the next step in the legal process leading up to potential negative decisions. But like I said, and I want to support Lex here, we should all try to avoid this, work very hard on this topic, and communicate properly with your team leaders, not only the DOA team leaders, but if your organization has other organization approvals as well, those team leaders are responsible for that.
Considering the gap that you have in terms of companies who are fit today for purpose with SMS, do you forecast there will be some companies who will not be fit for the SMS? In other words, how do you think the gap will be recovered in such a short time? And because there is 3 months more or less.
So we are hopeful that activities currently ongoing lead to a big ramp up in organizations that are mature enough on the SMS topic. And we're having currently with many organizations discussions. They're all on a path, and we can't tick the box yet on to say, okay, sufficiently mature, but we are working with many organizations. Our crystal ball is broken. It doesn't say where we will be on the 7th of March. And that's why we had to send those letters and prepare for the eventuality. We are trying to do everything on our end. And yeah, this the main purpose, I would say, Lex, of this presentation is to tell you again, really start working on this. There will be severe consequences if you're not sufficiently mature. And please keep on working and trying to achieve this.
If I may add, the chart that was shown is very binary. It's like compliant, non-compliant, but it does not reflect the complexity of the realities, which is that many organizations are almost there, and they just need a little bit of effort to be compliant. And this subtle difference is not reflected in that chart, which is just binary.
Okay, so there is a question through Slido. How are you ensuring DOA team leaders are applying proportionality when it comes to SMS? For that, I would say we have internally a policy that, and it is surrounding also on this this cluster approach that I mentioned. So all the team leaders have this information and are expected to work accordingly. I don't know else what to add to that.
Maybe to add to that, Lex, yes, those team leaders are trained as well on the SMS topic, and we're training on the proportionality there. We have regular meetings where we discuss not only progress of SMS, but also experience from the field, where we can emphasize the proportionality aspect. And like Lex explained, it's not only proportionality in the application you do in your organizations, but also in the way we investigate your organizations. So that also is emphasized a lot in our, I would say, almost daily discussions.
Yes.
Rob, may I ask a question? Will you, in the closure of a finding, use also kind of a risk-based approach? Because when I see the number of organizations still outstanding, obviously they cannot be all audited in that short time frame.
Like I said, we are using this cluster approach, which is the risk-based approach to SMS compliance checking that we do from our end. As I also mentioned, and as Gregory confirmed, the chart is rather binary. So it's really the end of the progress that is reflected in the chart. So when a company is at the end, where we can say sufficiently mature, and so for many of the organizations, if not all, we're on a path today. And for some, we're very close to achieving the goal. For some others, there's still a bit of work to do. So it varies across organizations. But yeah, to answer your question directly, we're taking a risk-based approach through the cluster approach, where organization with a limited scope, with a limited size, we are checking at a higher level, so to speak, than for the bigger organizations with a big scope. We're digging a little bit deeper.
So thank you very much for your questions. I would propose that we go over to the next presentation.